We're here for the technology, and we're here to provide you updates on the technology. Ethereum, the world's leading smart contract blockchain, is poised for a major upgrade known as Shanghai, and now we have an official date, April 12th. Now, Shanghai is the one that lets people who staked their ETH way back in December 2020 to finally withdraw that ETH, potentially leading some validators to pull their stake, while also potentially inducing others to come in and commit their ETH to securing the newly proof of stake blockchain known as Ethereum. A lot of people speculating whether or not this is going to impact price at all. I think some folks say maybe, some folks say not so much, but that's what we will discuss here on this show right now. Will, you have had experience staking ETH back to the Beacon chain way back when. CoinDesk had an experiment around this in the early days. What do you think this is going to mean when these, when the staked ETH can be withdrawn? You think we're going to see action there in terms of people cashing out?
Yeah, it's weird to think back on this. It was 3 years ago when the first update went live and you were able to push your stake on top of the Beacon chain. The merge not even occurred at this point. So very long time ago. These people have been waiting for quite a while if you're one of those early stakers. Of course, you could have been staking the last 3 years at that point, but if you're an early staker, you're pretty much ready to get out and get some cash. Most of these stakers who were there earlier are up over 100% in USD terms on top stake. For the people who are staking later, not necessarily in money at this point. According to some Dude Analytics dashboards we have, about between 15 and 30% of people are only in the money if they were staking on top of Ethereum at this point, because it takes a while to actually make money when you are staking. There is APY there. You can make some money, but it does take quite a while. That's why I'm thinking that there's actually not going to be like a huge amount of people withdrawing right now. I think people are going to continue to wait. Why pull out your ETH if you just put it in there recently and you are still getting very steady rewards? There's not a lot of other places to park capital right now, right? Besides the traditional financial system. But if you're looking to park your crypto money somewhere else in the crypto ecosystem, like, are DeFi yields really going to be that interesting to you? I mean, there's other places you can look for money, but for the most part, staking is a pretty attractive alternative right now. So I think people are going to hold their money. That being said, I think some of the early people who put their ETH in the early days of this project are going to pull out and they're going to find a different place to park their ETH. Adam, up to you.
Yeah, so I don't want to declare victory too early with all of this stuff, but got to tell you, I think it is a pretty significant milestone as we move towards sort of this completion of the vision that was laid out several years ago and which has taken quite a while to manifest. You know, I think for every sort of person who did stake and has staked into the Ethereum blockchain, during this time when that was essentially a one-way trip and you didn't really know if you were going to ever be able to get your tokens back. I think that now, again, like what this says to me is that for someone who's more risk averse like myself, there's actually a reason why I might choose to stake moving forward once you know that, hey, the whole system works, you can actually pull stuff out. It's also worth noting that when you're talking about like profit, it's kind of weird because we're talking about it in dollar terms, which means that the dollar price of the asset matters a lot. But if you're just looking at it in terms of Ether, right, in terms of like somebody putting Ether into the staking system and then receiving rewards, everybody is in the green on that. Everybody has more Ether at this point if you were a staker on the early chain, irrespective of when you did it, today than you did at that point. So it's kind of relative depending on how you want to look at it. So I think, again, like the only other thing I'd mention is that we think that this is going to happen. We think that the Shanghai upgrade is going to allow this to kind of come into reality. But until it actually manifests on the blockchain, that's what it is we think that this is going to happen and we expect that it's going to happen. And it's looking good like it's going to happen. But things can still go wrong. And I always like to keep that in mind just because after 10 years in crypto, you see so many promises, so many expectations go by the wayside, well-intentioned. These problems are hard problems. And so respect all around on this one. Zach?
You mentioned the certainty of, being able to take these assets out. And I think, I heard an interesting comment from Christine Kim, formerly of CoinDesk, now a senior researcher over at Galaxy Digital, made these comments over on the Laura Shin podcast. She said that certainty may actually induce more institutional stakers to come into the fold, right? Okay, assuming things go according to plan, as pointed out by Adam, there's a long history of some of these upgrades being delayed or otherwise having issues. Assuming that it goes to plan, the ability for institutions to say, okay, I can put it in there and take it out there at will rather than locking up for this indeterminate amount of time may actually induce more participation from the institutional side of staking rather than some of the outflows that some people had been anticipating prior. So interesting, I think that you noted that, and it certainly is a big part of the calculus. Jen, I saw you. I want to get you in on this conversation. What do you think? What do you take? What's your take on Shanghai?
Well, both you, Zach, and Adam kind of brought up what I was going to bring. You know, the history on these upgrades is kind of push and pull, right? We never know if it's going to happen until it actually happens. And so, Will, I saw your hand up. I guess my question to you, as I pass it over to you for last thoughts, is what is the likelihood of this happening given the current ecosystem?
Yeah, I think it's pretty high. The Go Earlier testnet also just pushed this same update just on the testnet version. It seems to be happening right now pretty well. There was a few hiccups, but nothing that really put anyone in danger. So it does seem like this is moving forward. Of course, they will pause it if they see some sort of needed change in the code, and then they always add like a buffer period in there just in case. To Adam's point, I do want to critique one thing really quick. Not everyone is in the money because you can't slash in the system, and there have been some people who've been slashed and ejected from the proof of stake network over the years. So there's a few unlucky souls out there, but a lot of them